Hey guys, RicoKnows here. Thank you for being here. It's Thursday night. It's game day. Shout out to you guys. I wanted to start the show early. I know I'm starting an hour early. If you're watching this, you can watch it on a playback speed. You can change the speed and do it like 1.5 and you can catch up, or you can watch the whole show when you want to, but I need to get this done as soon as possible. We do have a game tonight. I will be doing a watch party, a live stream with the MVPs, with everybody out there. Gonna start that at 7:30. Okay, if you want to know, it's Army Temple. Maybe it's a game you don't know about. Maybe it's teams you don't know about. But if you want to know about Army Temple, all you have to do is go to Patreon. You can do it here on YouTube as well. Hit the join button. And once you join, you become an MVP. You'll see this video. It's 23 minutes long. It's me breaking down the game tonight. It's me telling you all the best bets, props, parlays, and the bet against the spread, and everything else I would do in regards to my approach of betting on this game. Because there is money to make tonight, for sure. Shout out to all the guys on Patreon. If you don't know what Patreon is, get the app, download it from the App Store, and then join the channel. I have everything here. I've already posted 7 different bets to make for prize picks for the weekend. I've broken down everything. Here's a video explaining the prize picks. It's 12 minutes long. It's what I do. And then there's free money tonight. I won't even scroll up because you'll be able to see the whole parlay. But I have a plus 100 that's definitely going to hit tonight. So shout out to everybody on Patreon, all the MVPs. We have thousands of MVPs. Figure it out, guys. $25 a month or $255 for the whole year. You get 2 months for free if you pay for the whole year. Guys, we do UFC fights, every single fight, and we do every single college football game. The guys make money year-round. Shout out to all the MVPs. Yes, once you get to Patreon, become an MVP, or YouTube, become an MVP, you have to connect your profile to the Discord server. Don't just show up to the Discord server. We have so many people just showing up writing test. These are MVPs who don't know what they're doing. I can show you right here. You come to the Discord server, you see a guy, JJ Watts, just wrote test. He did it wrong. You do not just show up and write test. You see Dalton Hallman here? He did it right. His name's in green. If your name's in green, you did it right. Little Chris just gave up, bro. He did this shit yesterday. Didn't care. If you're not getting on the Discord server, you're not getting half of what you paid for. You're an MVP and you want to know why you don't know the best parlays and props? It's because you're not in these server rooms, these chat rooms. If you join the server and you are not green, which means you connected your Patreon to the Discord, if you're not green, you can't see anything. All these channels are MVP chat and info. You won't see any of these. And all my locks are in these channels right here. RicoKnows locks. This is all the charts every single week. This is all the props every single week. And I post them in here. Doesn't matter the sport. It's all posted in here. These are my 2 channels only. If you want to see the charts and the bets, you need to connect your Patreon to the Discord. Yes, I talk about these charts in videos. But if you want access to the charts early and me making on-the-spot updates like this right here, we have injury reports. We spam this all week long. Questions and answers. People ask questions and answers. We talk and we help each other out all week long. It's 1,000. There's like 2,000 people on the server. Everybody's in here talking about different bets and the weather and what you would do, all the updates. It's everybody talking, but you can't see any of this unless you learn how to connect your Patreon to the Discord. So why is it so hard for some people? I'll never know. I'll never know. It's just one click. You just go to settings right here and go to connected apps, and you just connect your Patreon to the Discord under connected apps. There's a whole video posted and pinned on Patreon. It's pinned there, so you can see it at all times, and it takes you through it step by step, because you can't use the app to do the connection. You need to use the browser version, meaning use Safari, use a website, use a laptop, a desktop. You can, oh, Rico, all I have is my cell phone. You can use your cell phone. Just don't use the damn app for the very first connection. You got to use the web browser version of Patreon. They have not figured this out. You need to make sure the email address on Patreon matches the email address you used on your Discord profile. Once the emails match, you'll be validated. You'll be good to go. They can't figure it out. They quit. They think it's a lie. They're losers. I'm serious. Any MVP that can't connect to the Discord server is a complete loser. I wouldn't even want them on the platform. Because you're not watching the videos, you're not immersed in it. You're not reading the charts or the updates. You just say to me, Rico, I just want my picks. I just want my picks, man. Just send it to me in an email. I just want my picks. You're a loser. I know you're not winning. You don't have a clue how to bet. One dude even wrote to me and he was like, are you saying we need to figure out what bets we need to make on our own? You are part of the problem, bro. You are part of. Get away from me. Go pay some random loser on Twitter. Go pay a random loser on TikTok who's screaming out he's got picks. Go. I got analysis, bro. Let's talk about UFC real quick. UFC just settled their settlement, $375 million. They're going to be paying an antitrust lawsuit. If you don't know what that means, anytime you see antitrust, I want you to think of the Sherman Act. Antitrust, if you don't know what that is, late 1880s, they had to start coming up with this law to stop trusts, because trusts were these things where companies were buying up other companies. I want you to think of the board game Monopoly. And once you have a monopoly, well, then they can just gouge you, and there's no other way for there to be competition. And the UFC was guilty of this. They were out there forcing fighters. They don't even allow the fighters to get a union. They don't want the fighters to be paid. They don't give them a share of the purse. There's not a set percentage. Everybody's getting paid different amounts. The contracts are all kept hidden. Nobody's allowed to talk to one another. So the fighters have been forced to coagulate or consolidate within a gym. And then the gym can help them and protect them when negotiating. And the gyms are kind of like separate football teams, if you will. But there's no NFL Players Association. There's no Fighters Association. They're fighting that tooth and nail. And here they had to settle in an antitrust lawsuit to pay the fighters from years past. This started back in like 2014. So they actually had an agreement to pay $325. The judge refused the $325. Judge said, no, I don't agree with this. You need to increase the amount. This isn't enough. And the plaintiffs, the people who were actually suing, they wanted the $320. They're just tired of waiting. They just want to get paid. There's a bunch of ex-fighters grouped together. They just want to get paid. I think it's Chun-Li. But there's another lawsuit. People are going to keep suing UFC until they unionize. And by then, Dana White will leave, because it'll cut into the profits immensely. It's why the Zuffa brothers are out. That's why they sold this thing, because the Zuffa brothers saw, oh my God, we were making a killing, a crazy profit. They were fighting. They were giving out a total purse. I think it was like $250,000 total purse. I remember when Nick Diaz retired because he got paid $250. He just said, oh, I quit. I retire, because he got a $250 payout. I'll never fight again. I just got paid for the rest of my life. $250 is good enough for me. And he just went and started getting high and smoking weed. And you've only seen him fight twice ever since then. He couldn't believe that he was getting $250. And that's because never in their mind did they think fighters are going to make more than 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 per fight. And you'll never get a union because there are 13 millionaires. The top fighters in each weight class, the very top fighters, are millionaires. Why do they care how much a fighter makes from one of the stands, Uzbekistan? Why do they care what he makes in a prelim fight? They're not fighting for his wages. It'll cut into theirs. They're not trying to figure out equal pay. So when you hear about a prelim being on a 12 and 24, meaning 12 to show, 24 to win, the winner gets 24, the loser gets 12. These guys are all ecstatic about that payment for many, many years, until they realized, oh, we could get paid more. So the UFC tried to real subtly say, oh, we pay our guys more with sponsorship. Oh, they can earn more money with their seniority and sponsorship. And now, if they come to the press conference, they do a photo shoot, they sign a bunch of autographs, they get an extra $12,000. Depending on who you are, $5,000 to $20,000 every week for the fight. And that's supposed to placate and massage everybody. And then Dana White started giving out bonuses, fight of the night bonuses, and all that, and it's always $50,000, which was an insane amount at one point. And now they realize that's not even a lot. After taxes and having to give 10% to your gym, it's not even a lot. I got to fight 3-4 times a year just to be lucrative. And how many times are you going to fight in your life? This is a terrible, terrible organization to work for. And all the fighters have to go on the mic and kiss ass and say, I'm so grateful to be in the UFC. I'm so grateful to be in the UFC. Because there's nobody else with the equivalent earning power. But the UFC is clearing, or at least was clearing, an insane amount of money every single fight week. Every single fight week, making an insane amount of money. and paying the fighters peanuts. You know, in the NBA, it's a 50% split between the players and the owners. In the NFL, it's 48.5%. Let me make this very clear. The NFL, the way the salary cap is determined, is they take the total revenue generated by the league and they give 51.5% to the owners, and they split that up by 32. And then they give 48.5% to all the players. That 48.5%, whatever that number is, they divide that by 32, and that's your salary cap. Now, it's up to the general managers to decide who gets what from the salary cap, but that's how the money's divided in the NFL. Players in the NFL are not underpaid. They have 48% of the revenue. There is no employer in the world paying his employees 48% of the revenue. Any business right now, you work at a restaurant, you're not getting 48% of the revenue. So when you get a players association and you have the leverage and you are the talent, you do make money. Now, yes, the owner is only splitting the money with himself. The owners are splitting it 32 ways. The players are splitting it 1,500 ways. Yeah, we know. One guy's a lot richer than the other. But when you guys ever heard somebody talk about the salary cap? And then somebody goes, oh, you got to make the owners pay. You got to make the owners pay. These owners don't want to pay. You got to make them pay. Bro, you're not touching any of their profits. You're not getting any of the owners' money. The owner's slice of the pie is predetermined, and it's over here. When you want more money and you're holding out for a bigger contract, all you're doing is arguing amongst your teammates. Who's going to take a pay cut so I can get paid more? Your pie, your slice of the pie is in a separate section. There's no amount of money you can earn is going to touch the owner's money. It's set up that way. NFL Players Association, go read about it. The only real league in this world where you can say the owner's got to pay more, it's going to come out of his profits, is the UFC, because they don't have an association. They don't have a set standard for pay scale. It's the UFC is the only one where you can say, hey, Dana, are you going to pay more? Dana, you're going to increase them bonuses? Only place. The owners can't give you more. It's already predetermined, and it's set out for the next 30 years that way, or at least the next 10. Remember, if you guys ever hear CBA, Collective Bargaining Agreement, they have already agreed they can't do any changes. The Players Association can't do any changes. The damn league can't do any changes. The owners can't change it. It's set in stone until 2030 in the NFL, in the example I'm giving you. So whenever you hear somebody ignorant talking about a holdout or somebody's contract, you hear it at a barbershop. You hear it at work. You hear it when two guys who think they know what they're talking about. You see it on Twitter. And they'll be like, yeah, this guy needs to get paid more. Oh, the owner needs to just shut up and pay him. You just be like, what are you talking about? General managers are managing the roster, but the money is all over here. You don't get any of the owner's money. And the owners, if they don't pay, I think it's like 95% of the salary cap, if they don't pay it out to the team, it gets divided among everybody. So there's no team out there operating under the salary cap like they are in baseball. That's why the NFL has parity, theoretically. Yeah, man, it's crazy. So UFC, a monopoly, no union, don't pay the fighters well, and they're not going to bat for each other. Please, study, become smarter. All right, so check this out. You guys know the whole Sluka thing yesterday. Carl Reed Jr., who I've already told you guys, you can't trust anything Carl Reed says just because he's always shaking hands with the people he's writing about. And as a journalist, you can never trust somebody talking who sits next to their subjects and smiles and poses in pictures and tries to get in their office and sit on their couch, because they'll never tell the hard truth. But anyways, this guy said all financial commitments for UNLV quarterback Sluka were completely met. This is not true. Then he said, but after wins against Houston and Kansas, Sluka's family hired an agent, and they collectively feel that his market value has increased per a source, is what he said. My response was, per my source, Sluka was offered $3,000 a month for 4 months after his agent was getting the cold shoulder all fall camp. One of these Colorado fans writes and says, your source, quote unquote, trust me, bro. So I said, my source is the collective who I've been talking to all day yesterday, and Marcus Cromartie of Equity Sports, Sluka's agent. Because he didn't just hire Cromartie. Cromartie didn't just get hired. Cromartie's been there the whole time. This guy says, highly unlikely, brother. And then, what do you know? Somebody wrote a story with my version of events. This was written, I think, yesterday evening or this morning. And guess what it says in there? Guess what it says in the story? Highly unlikely, Rico. Oh, here we go. Sluka's agent, Marcus Cromartie of Equity Sports, says, we suggested payments of $10,000 a month over the next 5 months, and even $5,000 per month. Sluka was offered $3,000 per month by Odom. Sounds like I know what I'm talking about. Sounds like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Shout out to the Colorado fans. You guys are utterly ignorant. Just walk around uninformed. It's gross. Injuries. DeMonte Traynham, doubtful. He hasn't played at all this year. That's Chip, by the way. He goes by Chip. Chip Traynham. Ohio State transfer. A linebacker and a running back. Doesn't really matter for Kentucky. They're not beating Ole Miss. Deion Burks, questionable for Week 5. That's bad news for Oklahoma. You need Deion Burks because you already don't have Andrel Anthony. Andrel Anthony, now doubtful versus Auburn. Nick Anderson, listed as out versus Auburn. You don't have your 3 top wide receivers against Auburn? Keep an eye on Deion Burks. But this right here is a problem. Oklahoma, you got a new starting quarterback and no wide receivers to get open, and they already have great corners at Auburn. Keontae Scott is great. They have great corners. Sakobe White, did he get arrested again? Questionable for Alabama. Okay, cool. He's been arrested already. Those are the only updates I have on there. Let's start talking about the SEC. Oh, by the way, today's episode is the SEC and the Sunbelt. But just so a reminder, tonight, Army at Temple. Shout out to the American. Army at Temple. And it's at 7:30. We're doing a watch party here on YouTube and the Discord server. Once again, if you want to know who's winning this game, all you have to do is get to Patreon. Go watch the 23-minute video. It tells you who to bet on. Yes, I'm in the middle of a storm, by the way. Ole Miss, Georgia Southern. Ole Miss, bro. Jackson Dart went ham. I'm convinced Trey Harris is the best wide receiver in America. I'm pretty sure I'm going to put Trey Harris number 1 on my wide receiver chart. I'm 100% sure for the NFL draft. He's the best wide receiver I've seen. I don't care what anybody talks about. I don't care who you talk about. Trey Harris, best wide receiver I've seen, dominating this game, shutting down a Georgia Southern pass-oriented offense. They couldn't do anything. Shout out to JJ Pegasus. I see way too much of this dude. He actually played running back and scored a touchdown, which was crazy. They put him in to score a touchdown from 1 yard out. Played great on defense. Chris Paul Jr., the Arkansas transfer, linebacker, superstar, going to be in the NFL one day. Chris Paul Jr. played amazing, probably one of my top 5 defenders from Week 5 or Week 4 once I saw it on tape. I thought it was very, very good play by him. All the transfers really showed out and played. I want to give a special shout-out to Jaden Kennedy. Jaden Kennedy is a Kennedy. He's a Tulane transfer. Reached out to the channel 2 years ago. One of the very first players that ever reached out to me on TikTok, asked me for a film review. He tore his ACL the year before, last year. But the year before that, he was the American Defensive Player, newcomer of the year as a freshman. I think it was all conference. He was amazing. So he jumps in the portal, transfers to Ole Miss, been in recovery, and he's finally getting out there. This is a very good player. I really like the way he plays his game. So it's nice to see him healthy and back at it. Shout out to Chris Hardy. Don't ever be behind Princely on the depth chart. Don't ever be behind Princely on the box score. Keep doing your thing, Chris Hardy. I believe in you, bro. He does follow me on Twitter as well. Micah Davis, they just got a little bit of playing time on offense, but this is a Utah State transfer. I believe Utah State really misses him. He was one of their best wide receivers, third best wide receiver, but he's a return man all day, and he transferred in September. Or August, like super late. He was the last guy to transfer out of the transfer portal that ended up playing this year. So it's nice to see him land on his feet and continue to be the return guy for this team. But this is a very good team, very special team. I like everything about him. I laugh at guys like Rashad Amos, who rush for over 1,000 yards in the MAC, show up over here and you're third string. You're not even ahead of Dominique Thomas on the depth chart. Are you ahead of Ulysses Bennett? I don't know. But they'd rather run a defensive lineman in there to get a touchdown than your ass. Rashad Amos, you ain't shit. Shout out to you. You do follow me on the channel as well. You and all your fans. Texas absolutely dominating this game. Nothing else to it. Isaiah Bond doing his thing. Ryan Wingo scoring a touchdown like I told you he would. I think he has a special connection with Arch Manning. But in this game, Arch Manning had a lot of growing pains. Arch Manning, everybody assumed he's going to come out here. His Heisman campaign starts now, Rico. Shut up. That's not how it works. Arch Manning, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Still impressed with ULM's effort, but you're not even going to get past the 50-yard line when you're playing Texas. Not this season. Texas is so loaded. Defensively, their backups are better than anybody you got. They have a harder practice than this game. Shout out to Taven Curry. He is the UAB transfer that I really like. And I'm hoping he keeps getting playing time. Ahmed Hardy's the freshman who broke out this year. Really like him. But at the end of the day, it's just apples and oranges. We have a team that's ready to play in the playoffs and another team that's just grateful to have 85 scholarship players. Tennessee, Oklahoma. Obviously, I live streamed this game. So anybody who keeps telling me on TikTok, oh, you didn't even watch it. Yeah, I live streamed this game. Went back and just watched it specifically for Nico. I wanted to make sure I wasn't wrong on what I saw from Nico. I thought he was terrible. I'm going to say it again. Nico Lava, whatever. I think he played absolutely terrible. Dog shit terrible. Fumbled twice. Couldn't find his receivers. The only thing that happened in this game that made it look decent is the yak on Brew McCoy and Deontay Thornton. They were just faster than the defenders and got you a ton of yards after the catch. Those 2 explosive plays, 42 and 66. That's 108 yards passing that on 2 plays. The rest of the time, I want you to think about that. 108 yards passing on 2 plays. That means he had 19 attempts to get 90 more yards. That is the worst you'll ever see. 19 attempts to get 90 yards. It was terrible. I am not impressed by anything this young man did in this game. I thought it was gross. And Michael Hawkins did not play good. You moved the ball, Rico. Running around everywhere. They had no rushing attack again. Sawchuk is not even a real player this year. I bet he's pissed he stayed. Everybody else transferred out. Sawchuk stayed. I don't even know what that's about. Getting no playing time. None. Ugh. Yeah, other than that, this whole game was two great offensive plays, and they won the game. A lot of defense. A lot of defense. Oklahoma's defense impressed me. They showed up and met the standard. They met expectations. Their offense was obviously very substandard. Oklahoma's offense was gross. Both defenses were legit. Tennessee was not, they're not number 6 in the country good. Not from all the other offenses I've seen. No. I'm telling you, I don't think Tennessee's a top 10 team. Missouri, hey, you run into Diego Pavia, it looks really bad. It looks really bad. You run into Diego Pavia, you end up having to go to double overtime, and you win the game by a missed field goal because this dude shanks it. Diego's tough to deal with, bro. Diego's tough to deal with. They batted down a lot of passes. They got to a lot of passes, and Nate Noel ran everywhere. 199 yards on 24 carries. He took over the running back room. Nate Noel will be this running back moving forward, but there's still some concern here. There really is on so many levels. And I think when I watch it, my concern is the way Brady Cook's playing. Brady Cook's not playing to expectations. He's not impressing me the way he needs to. I'm just keeping it real. Brady Cook's really letting me down with what he has. Defensively, I thought they played okay. It's just you can't stop Diego Pavia like that. He's just going to keep moving the ball on you. Now, let's talk about, I'm watching film, and let me tell you something. Joseph McVay. Don't know Joseph McVay, 4-star. He got a 90 rating coming out of high school. Don't know Joseph McVay, so I saw the one touchdown he had, and I said, all right. Eli Stowers is the only guy that's going to catch passes from Diego Pavia, and that's a continuity-driven connection from last year at New Mexico State. I get it. They tell me Eli Stowers is injured. he wasn't going to play in this game, and then he ends up playing, and he has 7 receptions, and nobody else catches any other passes. But I see 1 catch for 65 yards and a touchdown, and when I'm watching the game, I see Joseph McVay. He looks like an older kid. He looks physically developed. So I wanted to show you guys some of his tape, and I just got to tell you, this kid looks special, man. He comes from a small school, so when you come from a small school, this is him right here. He's physically developed, makes people miss, and then he's not a burner, but he's faster than everybody else. He's faster than everybody else. I think he wins high balls. I went and looked him up on his track stuff. This man won, or at least he used to high jump 6'6". Being 6'1" and you're high jumping 6'6", you're a hell of an athlete. Look at that vert. And then he just makes people miss, or he just competes for the ball every chance he gets. He's not a burner, but he's one of those guys that's going to win jump balls. And I think once Vandy finds a player like this, they need to take advantage of it. He's not losing one-on-one battles. He's an incredible true freshman. Just looks, you know what it is? He makes everything, no, I'm going to say that about another kid. He makes everything look easy, but that's another guy. I just confused his tape with another tape. I still like this tape. He's high pointing everything. I don't care that he's a DB. He's obviously not playing defensive back, but pretty special kid. To get on the field as a true freshman and catch a long touchdown. Joseph McVay, you're on my radar now, bro. Congratulations. Shout out to him. I do follow him on Twitter now. Looked him up. LSU, UCLA. The only thing I'm going to say about this is I don't like LSU's running back room. I'm really confused over how they're using Caden Durham. He scores a touchdown the first time he touches the ball when he catches the pass out of the backfield, but they don't run him, which is crazy because he had 2 breakout games 2 weeks in a row, and then they don't use him in this game. Receivers, Lacey's one of the most disappointing performances of the season. They didn't even utilize him all that well, and then they started throwing the rock to Mason Taylor, which I'm so excited about because I think he is an NFL tight end. So I really like Taylor on that. Defensively, you guys already know the deal. Harold Perkins Jr. out for the season. Now they got to find other answers. Looking at their defense, I don't care about the plays they make. They're bad. They're bad. They're in position to make plays. They're super talented players, and they're bad. I don't even think like you can – it's coaching. It's coaching. That's it. It's coaching and a lack of communication. Like, they make mental errors. You just watch 2 dudes run, and 2 guys will cover the same receiver and just leave a guy wide open. Or one guy will be in man, one guy will be in zone. It'll be weird. Like, they just have miscommunications. They don't know the system. So they're not out there playing to their best of their ability. They're just failing left and right. Speaking of failing left and right, A&M failing to win games. Like, they're just failing into victory. They're bad, man. This is a bad performance here against Bowling Green. Not very dominant. Yes, they got an interception when it mattered, but Marcel Reed's the only guy that's really dominating this game. Him and Moss. But still, it's just Reed. No wide receivers we're talking about. None of them really impressed me. And Bowling Green lost their best. Jalen Husky's their best corner. He transferred to Maryland this offseason. So it's not even the best defense you're going to see. And you still can't beat these guys on routes. You still can't beat them. And you don't have a quarterback that's getting you the ball. Defensively, absolutely just playing to the best of their ability. They're trying, man. Nick Scorton looks great on tape. York looks great on tape. Will Lee, all 3 of these dudes look amazing on tape. Shamar Stewart, just beasts. I wish BJ Mays played more. I'm going to say that right now. I'm going to put it out there. And Cassius Howell, that's a transfer from Bowling Green. I bet he misses his old team. But BJ Mays, UAB transfer? Yeah, man, I wish he played more. I think he's a good player. All in all, I'm very underwhelmed by A&M's offense, and I think in conference they're going to be in trouble because their defense is great. They're telling me Wegman's a game-time decision. All right, well, make your decision, bro. Speaking of making decisions, Mississippi State, apparently they're going to be going Michael Van Buren for the rest of the year as their starting quarterback. Blake Shapen's done for the year. Congratulations. Johnny Daniels came out here and played pretty well in this game, but they were outgunned and outmatched by halftime. It was over. Another decision that's being made is Creed Whitmore, this wide receiver down here. I think he's a freshman, or I think he's a sophomore. But he's planning to redshirt this year, so that'll be the last time you see him. He's just going to go ahead and sit it out. Said he's going to redshirt. He's in the starting lineup. He's in the 2 deep. Doesn't care. Speaking of the 2 deep, why are we still playing DJ Lagway? Graham Mertz is healthy. Graham Mertz comes out here and goes 19 for 21. and you have to give up plays and give up reps to DJ Lagway? Bro, he's 19 for 21. Let's stop messing around. That guy gives you the best chance to win games. Use him. Pisses me off, man. It's crazy. Just to appease the crowd, just because your team's losing, so you want to tell the leadership of the school, hey, we got a freshman in the wings. Keep me on board. Don't fire me. I'm Sunbelt Billy. Don't fire me. I'm playing a freshman. We'll be better next year. Get the fuck out of here, dude. I don't like it. Watching this game, I'm still frustrated with Kentucky. Whoever's calling plays for Kentucky, they have no creativity. How do you not get your best player the ball? Barry Brown's the best player at Kentucky. Best player. I think he's got NFL written all over him. Barry Brown is amazing, and they can't get him the ball. They get him at 1 carry for 23 yards and a touchdown, but they can't throw him the ball. 28 yards receiving. What are we doing? Let the man run a fucking post, bro. Stop throwing these bubble screens and let that man get downfield. He's the fastest player on the field. It's disgusting the way they're doing this. I don't like it. Every week they can't get Barry Brown the ball. Defensively, Jamin Dumas-Johnson, the Georgia transfer, played lights out on tape. Deion Walker, the best defensive tackle in America, played lights out on tape. I'm really impressed with this defense. They came out here and did it. Jatson Dunn sighting. Jatson Dunn, Ohio State transfer, got on the field this week. I didn't notice those 2 tackles during film study. I really didn't. But I just noticed that Barry Brown's not touching the ball when he needs to. By the way, I think there's a prize picks bet for Macklin receiving yards. Take his under. Macklin receiving yards is on the prize pick list. Go look for it. Kentucky. Wide receivers, Macklin receiving yards. Take the under. He don't get any yards. He don't get any routes. He don't get any playing time. So, yeah, the Hank Brown experiment's over. Hank Brown, 3 interceptions, looked completely overwhelmed, wasn't ready for this game. Arkansas finds a way to win. Auburn, what are we doing? What are we doing? You have a great running back. Use him. Even when you're trailing in this game, you don't have to panic and start throwing every single down. You have a great running back. Use him. Jarquez Hunter is always getting his yards. He's always productive. He's not bad. Stop giving it to other people. I don't want to see Alston fumble again. I don't want to see anything else. Just give it to Jarquez Hunter and let him do his thing. And they're not doing that. 5.6 yards a carry on 12 carries? Bro, give me the rock more. He should have 20 carries. Shout out to Big Play Dre. I told the MVPs, bet on his over yards. They got it wrong. By the way, Prize Picks has him at 40 yards again. Please keep taking Keandre Lambert-Smith's over yards until you see it in the 60s. They're getting it wrong. He can do 40 yards on one play. He averages 30 yards a catch. It's not a fluke. He's Big Play Dre. That's what I know him as. Jaron Thompson, the Texas transfer. What a great transfer. He's been playing lights out all season long, leading this defense, playing great. I already told you, Kalen Lee, and Deion. Where is he at? Not on here? Am I just tripping right now? Am I just looking at things wrong? I'm looking at it wrong. He's not here. What's wrong with me? Well, Kalen Lee's one of the starting corners. I'm looking for Scott. I don't see Scott on here. It's weird. Kalen Lee, though, stud. Shout out to Georgia. Where'd he go? Cedar Grove? Complete beast, bro. Where's it? What was his high? I don't know his high school. I think it was Cedar Grove. Complete beast. This defense has players. Doesn't matter. They're losing to Arkansas. There he is, Keontae Scott. I knew it. Just returning punts, bro. They're losing to Arkansas. Arkansas has no receivers. Arkansas sucks, and they still beat you. Embarrassing. I think, did you hear Hugh Freeze? He said if we play them 9 times out of 10, we beat them. Well, you didn't when it mattered, bro. South Carolina, Robbie Ashford played his ass off, and everybody's letting me know about it. Robbie Ashford sucks. Yes, he tore up Akron, but who hasn't? I think South Carolina played all their backups in this game. They let the scrubs play. They brought in Oscar Attaway III. They brought in Jawarn Howell. These are all backups, guys. The real starters are down here. Raheem Sanders, Nick Harbor. They didn't even use them. Wide receivers, though. Gage Larvadain coming through. Shout out to Gage Larvadain. I've been on Gage for 2 years now. No diddy. I've been telling you guys how great Gage is. I think he plays great. And then there's Bennett Jr. Mazio Bennett Jr. He's the one who makes it look easy. He's the one who's special. I think he's NFL. 6'1". I think he's 190 pounds, 200 pounds. No, he's 160, 170. He's the little guy. He's the little guy. A little undersized. Got to keep eating. Keep lifting. Fucking special, bro. Just looks good. Like everything about him. Like everything about that kid. It's a stud. And I'm a little late. Stud. Demetrius Knight, the Charlotte transfer, led them in tackles last year, played pretty good in this game. I thought all the transfers played really good. And I want to say something about that. Their defensive line, Kyle Kennard, Dylan Stewart, DeAndre Jules. Where's, I don't even have them on here. They have about 3 more defensive linemen I wanted to talk about. But their whole defensive line and their front 7 and their second, everybody, they're so good. They're winning games. I shouldn't even say like they're not winning games. They're so good that South Carolina should be better. Obviously, South Carolina's quarterback play is an issue, but their defense is so good. I already told you, Nick Manwari is like 4th for me among safeties. 4th, right? Yeah. Caleb Downs 2. Malachi Starks 1. Caleb Downs 2. Dylan Thieneman 3. 4. Yep, 4. Okay. And then 5 is Jeremiah Cooper. Look, man, Iowa State. But this guy right here, all of them, it's South Carolina found transfers that are starters. They didn't go get backups. They didn't go get scrubs. They didn't get guys who aren't seeing the playing, who aren't getting playing time, not seeing the field. They didn't get failed 4- and 5-star players. They got dudes who play on Saturdays, and I love it. Jalen Kilgore's a beast. His brother showed up. Like, everybody's here, bro. There's Gerald Kilgore. Everybody's here, man. I love this team. Shout out to South Carolina. Love the team. Yeah, there's Bennett. 5'11", 185. Okay, so they lied, though. He's not 185. Nah, he's 175. They're lying. Maybe he got bigger. All right, schedule this week. Kentucky plays Ole Miss. Obviously, Ole Miss winning the game. They're giving them 17.5 points. I don't know how Kentucky scores against this defense, and Ole Miss is going to go ham. I think Ole Miss covers that spread, even against Kentucky. Kentucky's defense is mean, but Ole Miss can score against anybody. Oklahoma, Auburn. Oklahoma's a 2-point favorite. Makes sense. Their defense is immense, and Auburn has no quarterback. Oklahoma can't score. Makes sense. I'm on Oklahoma to cover that spread. Arkansas, Texas A&M minus 4.5. Makes sense again. Man, these are pick'em games. I have to double check the talent chart. These are pick'em games. Mississippi State, Texas getting 37.5. I think you got to take it. I think you have to take it. Mississippi State's really bad, and they're at like their backup of backups at quarterback and running back, wide receiver. Like they got no depth. Texas is going to do this. Texas might shut them out. Georgia, Alabama. Georgia's a 2-point favorite. Makes sense. I wouldn't be betting on any of these games. These are coin flips. South Alabama, LSU. They got LSU with 22 points. Nah. And South Alabama can score, man. Their head coach, Major Applewhite, if you weren't alive during the 90s, and you probably don't remember Major Applewhite, but he was a starting quarterback for Texas, and he was good. I think he was the quarterback when Ricky Williams was the – was he the quarterback when Ricky Williams was the running back? So that was early 2000s. No, it was 98, 99. Man, when was that? Somewhere around there, man. Oh, no. Let's go. No, because Cedric Benson came after Ricky Williams. 01? He was the quarterback back then. He's a good player, man. He's a good guy. Good coach. Offensive scheme well. I think they can move the ball. Fluff Bothwell. Obviously, their offensive line's going to have a problem with the defensive front, but their skill players are really good. South Alabama's got a quarterback that can move the ball. Gio Lopez is a gamer. I like them to score some points against LSU. I do. I think they cover that spread. I like them covering that spread. Good at me. All right, I'm going to go to the chat, and then we'll talk about the Sunbelt. Let's see what's going on in the chat. Thank you guys for being here tonight. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm sorry, on TikTok, move on over to YouTube, drop your comment, question, and I got you. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Interact. Let's see what we got. Willie Bobo says, hunker down, Helen is on her way. Bro, if I got any chick named Helen coming over, I'm locking all the doors. I can't handle a Helen Honor way. That's for damn sure. Dave in Arizona says, good afternoon, Rico. What are your thoughts on coaches breaking promises? Will it give a program a bad rep for the transfer portal? I'm sure that there's going to be negative recruiting. And you guys know what negative recruiting is, right? It's when you walk into a living room or you talk to a young man and you don't tell him how good your school is. You just tell him how bad the other school is, right? That's what you do. So there are some coaches out there who prescribe to telling you, don't go to that school. They don't send anybody to the league. Don't go to that school. Their coach is going to get fired soon. Don't go to that school. They're just going to bench you. They're not going to play you now. They're going to say, don't go to that school. They won't pay you. That's not the way you recruit. No, what you should do is only talk about yourself. Come to our school, we're going to put you in the starting lineup. Come to our school, look how many guys we sent to the league. Come to our school, we have coaching stability. We just got here, we're going to be here for the next 5 years. Come to our school, here's how we do NIL deals. No need to mention the other people. By the way, this works in the real world. If you're trying to date a girl, and let's just say you work with a girl and she's got a boyfriend. Let's say you work with a girl and she's got a boyfriend. Don't walk up to her and be like, oh, you shouldn't be with him. I would treat you so much better. Oh, he doesn't show you any attention. I would show you more attention. I would never go out. If I was with you, I wouldn't go anywhere. Dude, stop that simp shit. Stop it. We ain't impressed. That's the weakest way to go about it, man. That's not how it's done. And any dude coming up like that, weak as fuck. Dude, that guy ain't got it. He ain't really got it. Sympathy fucking dude. That's crazy, dude. No, walk up to a girl. Don't ever talk about her man. Just talk about yourself. That's it. No negative recruiting. Don't need it. So, breaking promises. Coaches break promises all the time. They promise to start a player and then they put him on the bench. They promise to rotate you in and then they don't rotate you in and you're not a part of the game plan. Coaches break promises all the time. It's a part of the job. I don't think it's that big of a deal. You want a bad rep? You want a program with a bad rep? Let Joe Pa die from karma. When I think of programs with a bad rep, I think about Joe Pa dying from karma. That's what I think about when I think of programs with a bad rep. There you go. Rico knows. What up, Mr. Redkins? Good to see you. Carla Jenkins says, I saw the same amount. Thank you so much, Carla. Yeah, I was right. Dog shit awful. I don't know who we're talking about, Joseph Villalon, but apparently it has to be something not Texas. So it's probably ULM. Rico, do you think Lagway and Trey Wilson transfer if Napier is fired? I think Trey Wilson probably more likely to transfer. Lagway, not so much. I don't think either player is at Florida for the head coach. I don't think it's related to the coach at all. I think when the coach gets fired, it enables players to enter the portal within 30 days. I think that's an opportunity for teams to reach out and, tamper. I think Lagway ends up at Michigan if we're going there. Just heard Dave Portnoy say he's going to pay $3 million for the next quarterback to go to Michigan. Shit, every kid's going to line up for that. I might stay out of the draft. Get another $3 million before I go to the NFL draft because that NFL money is going to always be there. I don't know if they transfer. I mean, he could stay and they might transfer. Evan Kramer says, what's up, Rico? I'm curious to know who your top 5 Sunbelt quarterbacks are this season. Evan Kramer, let me pull up the stats real quick. You said top 5 Sunbelt quarterbacks. I know why you're saying it. Because your boy played great this week. Watch the tape. Watch it this morning. Your boy played great this week. All right, give me a second here. All conferences. We'll go to Sunbelt. Complete leaders. Man, you're going to hate my answer. You're going to hate my answer. All right, so top 5 quarterbacks that I've seen so far this year in the Sun Belt. Number 1 for me is probably Jordan McLeod. Jordan McLeod and Gio Lopez are right there. Gio Lopez, 9 touchdowns, no interceptions all season. They're 1 and 2. Jordan McLeod and Gio Lopez, 1-2. Third guy that I would have to choose out of all these is probably Alonzo Barnett. Alonzo Barnett III from JMU. That's probably my third guy. Lights out. Dual threat, running everywhere, just beat the hell out of North Carolina. Looks amazing. So that's my third. Fourth, Joey Aguilar. I understand his defense sucks. Defense sucks. They're playing the wrong running back, but Joey Aguilar is still a really good quarterback, so I put him at 4. And then my fifth guy, I mean, if you want to go Goose, you can. I'm not mad at you. But Jalen Raynor's probably more dynamic. And Jalen Raynor might lose his starting job soon. So then there's Ben Woolridge as well at the Ragin Cajun. That's about my 5. I don't really put a lot of value or stock into J.C. French's stats just because of the offense he plays at. Vasco really underwhelmed me this week when given the opportunity. Villieu will never be on the list. Tate Rodemaker, no. And then there's just nobody down there. We can't even go with anybody down here. We can't. This doesn't happen anymore. Timmy McClain might move up if he keeps playing good in junk time. Great question. Not betting it, but I really hope Alabama puts up points on Georgia and wins. Kairos is very possible. Very possible. Rico, so you think Kentucky's offensive coordinator is the problem and the roster and team should be better? Yeah, I think the results should be better. I think it's not just the offensive coordinator. It could be wide receivers coach. It can be head coach. There's just a problem among the decision makers at that university. The talent's there. When you see players so good they can start anywhere, and you see players that will make it in the NFL in spite of the coaching, yeah, the talent's there. It's coaching all the way around. There's no other way to put it. Rico, is there any SEC team that can stop Trey Moore? No. Trey Moore is going to get his. Trey Moore is him. Trey Moore is an NFL caliber player. He's an NFL player. He would have been drafted great last year. Right? He's an NFL player in college football. And there's several of those. He's one of them. I think when people get drafted, they automatically view them as NFL caliber players because they're in the NFL now. Right? Like Anthony Richardson got drafted, and everybody just makes believe that he's an NFL quarterback. The reality is if he was still in college, he wouldn't be starting for 20 teams. He couldn't start over 20 other college quarterbacks right now because he can't throw the ball. So where do you really see him going? So now you envision him, you view him as like an adult versus teenagers, but he's not any good, right? So when I see defensive ends get drafted and then now everybody views them as NFL guys, I'm like, oh, well, they're not NFL guys. Trey Moore's better than them, and he's in college. Right? There's levels to this. T-Mac is better than NFL wide receivers, than a number of NFL wide receivers, but he's in college. If you were drafting wide receivers last year, after about the 3rd round, you weren't drafting better wide receivers than T-Mac. No. So that means there's guys in the NFL that couldn't start at Arizona. People don't look at it like this because they don't evaluate the talent and compare them to each other. I do. I keep charts running the whole time. That's how I know a player can make the final 53. That's why I'm so right about my undrafted free agents, is because I can just go, oh, that guy's better than the players in the NFL. And there's a lot of those. And Trey Moore's one of them. For sure. Stud. Ricky won the Heisman in 98. There it is. My bad. It's all back there. It's all back there. 98. A hell of a time, bro. Shout out to 1998. I don't know what I was doing in 98. But it was fun. What up, Regina? Just saying. Shout out to my high school sweetheart. All right. Back to the good stuff. Quick. Sunbelt, JMU, undefeated for a reason. Great coaching, great execution, really showing out. What I've noticed over the last 4 weeks now is Alonzo Barnett separating himself in the quarterback room. He's got a long leash, and he's going to be there, and he played great. But so has George Pettaway. George Pettaway is fast. He looks good when he runs. He's getting it done, and we're just losing a bunch of other players. And it sucks, man, because Ayo Ade, he's not in the rotation anymore. They're going with Pettaway. They're giving Purdy more carries, and that's a guy who came over with the coach. And then their receiver room, oh, my God. Omarion Dollison, let me just say this. JMU reminds me so much of Memphis last year. Memphis. A little different dynamic at quarterback, but these receivers, Omarion Dollison is fast. No one was catching him. That guy is fast. Cam Ross coming over from UConn, studs. These two right here separated themselves talent-wise from what I saw. When you're beating Elijah Huzzy, like that's crazy. And they're doing it. Absolute domination. Defensively, Jacob Dobbs pops on tape every time I watch them dudes play. He's always making a play. Might not lead the team in tackles. Don't give a shit. He doesn't have any sacks, tackles, none of that. Dude, he's always making plays. Always making plays. Speaking of making plays, Terrence Spence had 2 interceptions in this game. One for a touchdown. Yeah, this team, they were hitting on all cylinders, scoring every way possible. At 50 points at halftime, it's insane. Sunbelt, Ragin Cajun, I thought they played well. Yes, you lost to Tulane, but they played well. Ben Woolridge looked good. Bill Davis is a bowling ball. I think he's like 5'9", 220, 230. A bowling ball, Bill Davis. You don't want to even try to tackle that guy. He's going to move chains. Scary. And then same thing over here. Terrence Carter is a big guy. He could be a tight end if he was taller. He's like 6'2", 240. He could be a tight end if he was taller. Does he play tight end? I don't know. He's a wide receiver, man. They're big. The guys they're giving the ball to are hard to tackle. I like that. Hard to tackle dudes. Defense, studs. Studs on defense, did the best they could. You ran into a really well-coached team and a team that just knows their strengths. Get behind that offensive line and run the rock. And that's exactly what they did. Finally saw Hughes of last year, and it looked great. Expect Hughes to go off every week in conference coming up. Coastal Carolina. I knew they were losing this game, but my goodness. You let Virginia do that to you? Virginia's very senior Latin. Virginia said, you're not running the ball on us. Shutting down Christian Washington is crazy. Christian Washington's a good running back. They could not move the ball on the ground. Offensive line looked porous. And then they tried to throw with Vasco. He couldn't get it done. Noah Kim comes in, equally not as good. Just everything went to Trey Taylor, which is weird. Trey Taylor's this little guy, local little dude. He fumbled in the game. I didn't like it. I didn't like the game plan. It doesn't matter. It was Virginia. But they should have been more competitive in this game, and they weren't. Wyatt Gideon played pretty decent. That's a good player. I like Wyatt Gideon, the third dude here. Stud. Good to watch on tape. Wyatt Gideon's a decent player to cheer for and watch. Jacksonville State beat the hell out of Southern Miss. So what was Southern Miss's problem? I don't know what they're coaching. I don't know what they're doing. Vegas thought this game was going to be closer, right? The spread was only like 7 points. They thought it was going to be closer. And it wasn't because these quarterbacks were confused. Each of them throwing 2 picks. They don't know what they're doing. Tate Rodemaker, shout out to Florida State. And then John White. These guys just played bad. And when you have no quarterback and you fall behind and you're down 21-7 at half and then you come out the third quarter and just completely shit the bed. Imagine you're down 21-7 at the half, and then at the end of the third, you're down 44-7. Like, what just happened? Fumbles everywhere, falling apart. Southern Miss looks bad. And you know what? This box score doesn't do it justice. Their performance on the field was worse. Troy absolutely finds a way to win, digs deep. I don't like that FAMU scored every quarter. That was crazy to me. They could just find success in every quarter. Daniel Richardson is a former MAC quarterback, so he is an FBS caliber player, so I know he's hard to deal with. But Thaddeus Franklin, former Miami player, hard to deal with. I get it, man. They should not be doing this to you. Like, you need to shut them down. Now, their defense is gross. Florida A&M's defense could not do anything about Goose Crowder. Goose Crowder's dicing them up, bro. Dicing them up. 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, only 7 incompletions, almost 300 yards, doing whatever he wants. Damian Taylor has taken over this running back room. No surprise. Hey, shout out to Tucker Kilcrease here. Tucker is a quarterback. They got him in here getting running play. He's a quarterback. They bring him in and let him do his thing. I like that. No, don't give the ball to Gerald Green. Give it to Tucker Kilcrease instead. This is cool, man. They're a different team. They need to figure it out. Devontae Ross, I want to give shout out to Evan Kramer. I know he's watching the show right now. Evan Kramer wrote to me this offseason when Chris Lewis went down with the cancer and everything, their star wide receiver, and he was like, hey, there's going to be an increased production for Devontae Ross. And it kind of makes sense, right? But he finally had the breakout game we were looking for. And it was all the targets. He was open every play. 11 receptions, 229 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Man, 229 in an FBS game. I don't care who you're playing. That's a lot. That's a lot, bro. 98 yards. Homie went 98 yards on a play. Devontae. Shout out to Devontae Ross. Do your thing, man. Defensively, I thought they played okay. They didn't have to play great, but they could have played better. Like, this game should have been a shutout. I just don't think FAMU's built like that. Troy's getting there. Troy's going to be in for a long season, though. It's their first win of the season. Get on the board. But I've seen this team struggle. And it's what happens when you lose all your talent and you lose your coaching staff. Speaking of struggling, App State. App State did not show up to play this game. They couldn't stop Gio Lopez at all. They couldn't stop Fluff Bothwell at all. It was crazy. We watched this game on the live stream. It was incredible. And it was incredibly bad for App State. App State, your season's over, and you only have to blame yourself. App State starting Anderson Castle at running back is your biggest mistake of all time. That guy's not the most dynamic running back on this team. The 2 guys I'm most impressed with, Haywood came in the second half and looked pretty decent. Obviously, Kanye Roberts is their best running back, and they just benched him. They just didn't have him in the starting lineup. Keep trying to throw it to this Anderson Castle dude. I wish they kept track of drops because he dropped so many easy little dump-offs. He killed every drive, bro. Check his bank account. I think he got paid. Receivers, doesn't really matter. Christian Horn's so fast, and you can't get him the ball. We saw him hawk down a player. Hawk him down. Run him down from 20 yards back. And you can't, and you know, so that guy's a corner covering your receiver. You know you're faster than him. And you can't just go beat him on a fade, bro. Just give him a go route. Let him do his thing. Defensively, I don't give a shit what the stats say. These guys played terrible. You know why they have so many tackles? They couldn't stop anything. They couldn't stop anything. This was a terrible game for App State. And I'm all out on App State. Like, I just don't believe in them anymore. And they're very talented. It's coaching, by the way. When you have the wrong players on the field, it's coaching. Marshall came out and looked good for the first quarter, first half, whatever you think they look good for. At the end of the day, I watched the tape. I did not like it. Did not like it. I thought they looked terrible. I thought Stern Earl is not the right answer at quarterback, and they don't have any answer at quarterback. I think Marshall's bad. Obviously, Arkansas State was overwhelmed against Iowa State. No shame in their game. I talked about this earlier in the week. Timmy McClain did outplay Jalen Rayner in junk time again. Just saying. Alarms. Timmy McClain giving them their best chance to win. I'm just saying, if he doesn't fumble. So let's look at the games this week. Ball State at JMU. You already know the deal. JMU should win that game. It's a 20-point spread. I don't care. Give it to JMU. Texas State, Sam Houston. Don't bet on the game, but there's Texas State, 8-point favorites. Let's see it happen. Louisiana, Wake Forest. This game intrigues me so much, and I'm so close to telling you Louisiana money line. Louisiana money line. I love Louisiana in that game. Liberty, App State. I already told you I'm all out on App State, so there's nothing to talk about there. Georgia Southern, Georgia State. It's a coin flip. I'm going with Statesboro. I live closer to Statesboro than Atlanta. Give me Georgia Southern to win this game. They're the underdogs? Oh, give me Georgia Southern money line. Go make some money, bro. Western Michigan, Marshall, that's an MVP level lock. Old Dominion, Bowling Green, MVP level lock. ULM, Troy. Troy, go do your thing. You better not lose that game, Troy. Make it happen. You better not lose the 7-point favorites. I actually like the over in that game, by the way. 40.5 points. If you couldn't stop FAMU, I don't think you're stopping ULM's rushing attack. Nah. Give me the over on that. And then South Alabama, LSU. I told you, I think South Alabama's covering that spread and making it competitive. I think they can stay within 22 of LSU. I like Gio Lopez a lot. All right, just a reminder, tonight, the game, I'm going to live stream it here in about 2 hours. So please get there. Make sure you show up. I'm going to jump to the chat one last time before we end it. What's up, chat? Willie Bobo says, RicoKnows for president. I appreciate you. I'm glad I have your vote, Willie Bobo. Jacoby Harris says, the way Bill Davis was bouncing off tacklers kind of remind me of Mike Davis from South Carolina. Ain't he something, bro? He's a bowling ball, man. Dude's a problem. Just saying. Shout out to you, Jacoby Harris. Touchdown Florida 2 says, what's up, Rico? I just got here watching from the beginning. Hey, man, set that speed at 1.5 speed. You can always catch up. It's always a good time. That's what most people do. If they get here late, they just start it over, 1.5 speed, and catch up. I saw a clip of Heupel telling Nico he backed off on the play calling. Was that your assessment when watching? And if so, could they be better than we think? No. No, because the whole world thinks they're a top 5 team. So there's no way they're better than we think. I'm telling you, when I watch the tape, Nico makes the wrong reads. He gets bailed out by 2 great plays of Yak. Other than that, 19 attempts to get 90 yards. That is atrocious. You take away those 2 great plays by his wide receivers, and he sucked. One of the worst performances I've seen. And I got to give credit to Oklahoma's defense, obviously. But it's not good. It's a very good defense at Tennessee, though. And a good defense will hide a lot of things. It ain't hiding for me, though. I'm watching that dude. I'm rewinding it, watching that dude. Rewinding it, watching that dude. And he don't look good. No. Not even a little bit. Hey, Rico, quick question. Quick answer. Are quarter spreads how much a team has to be winning at the end of the quarter? No, two-tone. Quarter spreads means you look at that quarter individually like a game, and did you outscore them in that quarter? So if it says -2, that does not mean you need to be in the lead by 2. That means in that particular quarter, you had to have outscored them by 2. Please be careful with quarter spreads. When you see a -2, that means they're saying you need to at least have kicked a field goal. But if you kick the field goal and a touchdown, and you're up by 10 in that quarter, and the other team scores a touchdown, you're still good. But if the final score, you're trailing, that doesn't even matter. The final score or the whole game score doesn't matter. I hope I explained that to you. An example would be you're losing in the first quarter 7-0, and then you come out in the second quarter and you win it 3-0, but you're losing at halftime 7-3. But you have it second quarter -2, you won your bet. Second quarter -2, you outscored them by 2. You outscored them 3-0. All right? Stay away from them quarter bets, bro. Quarter bets is scary. Quarter bets is scary, unless you know what's up. Shout out to you, Two-Tone. Hey, guys, thanks for being here. Remember, I will be live streaming at 7:30. I'm going to make myself some dinner, take a break. I'll see you guys in a couple hours. Get to Patreon, become an MVP, change your life. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.